This conference will now be recorded.
Let's see if it might just be.
It's got to be reversed in your settings or whatever you're going through on that thing.
See, even my screensaver image is backwards. So it's like,
I don't know if there's a setting in
yeah. See, it's still.
in case you're on a selfie. You know how it inverts those. Maybe something turned up in there that does.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not.
It looks right to me. I can read Rotoboss.
Yeah, but it's written backwards is the problem.
Is it?
On my end, everything's backwards.
No, it's right the way I see you, Jason.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird because I'm looking at it on my other monitor. I'm looking at everything in the correct fashion, but on here on the chat, I'm seeing everything backwards.
No,
so like
you're looking good, man.
Yeah.
Like my, yeah, okay.
You really are just backwards.
I guess maybe it's my vision playing with me or something. I don't know.
Cool. All right. We see there's some new names in here.
And I even got my swag done up finally.
Right. All right.
Hey,
Well,
I don't know what it's scary.
So, anyway, I'm Brian with Thunder Laser, and we've also got Jason here with Rotoboss, and Robert is a frequent flyer with Computer Creations. Ron's been on here a while. I see Gary over there. Everybody knows Gary. But we've got a few new guys. I see Lillian and Todd.
Yep.
Sebastian. So, I'll tell you what. Let's just start with Todd. His mic's on. How you doing, man?
Hey, good, Brian. Today was the day. I got my laser today.
Awesome. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Great. So what do you think about it so far? How far along are you?
So far, I've got it all set up. The only thing is, I was checking the tube and for the bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's tiny ones. Is that normal? It's tiny.
There's surface tension on that glass. I mean, you could add a couple of drops of Dawn surfactant, dishwashing liquid, to help reduce that surface tension. I don't really think it's necessary. If you don't see any big ones, that chiller moves quite a bit of water, and it probably cycles that water in that tube once every 45 seconds or so. So it's really flowing that water. They should kind of dissolve on their own, but if they don't, they may need a little bit of help. What kind of water did you use?
Just distilled.
Okay.
But it was easy. The hardest part of the whole thing was getting it out of the crate.
Yeah.
Everything was pretty easy to set up. So when?
Are you talking about debris in the water?
You're breaking up.
Are you talking about debris in the water?
No, I'm just, you know how just air bubbles in the water? In the tube? The laser tube?
Are you saying you see like glass or bubbles in the glass of the tube?
No.
Yeah.
No, there's actual air still. There's air bubbles in there, probably little small ones, hanging on because of the surface tension of the glass. So as you run it, that should dissipate.
Isn't the tube like just a vacuum or like certain?
No, there's water flowing through it. There's a non-vacuum part where the water flows through for the coolant.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I see. Well, other than that, Todd, is everything good? Have you burned anything on it yet?
I haven't burned anything because I was afraid that if those bubbles would damage it. So
I got you.
I'm getting ready. After this meeting, I'm gonna go out there and burn some stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I can tell you to get rid of the bubbles is if while the pump's circulating, if you pinch your inlet or outlet tube, it'll cause a pulse to go through the system, and typically it'll drive that air bubble out. So you do
Okay.
that a few you do that a few times on the inlet or outlet. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it builds up pressure and then you release it quick and it surges through there. But if it's
Yep.
those surface tension bubbles, they may not. I don't know if those will go away. You may have to add a drop or two of Dawn.
Okay.
As a last resort.
I have
If it's those little tiny micro bubbles, I mean, they're not great, but I don't think you have to worry about thermal insult, because that part of the glass isn't being cooled because there's enough surrounding water. If you had a big bubble in there, I may worry about it, more.
Yeah, there's no big bubbles.
Yeah.
right at the end of mine when I set up my 51. And Brian, I don't know if you remember, you had me reverse the inlet and the outlet, kick it on, and it bring the water the opposite direction real quick, and then flip them back the right way, and that took care of the bubbles there too.
Yeah, I think I do remember that, having you run it backwards. You can try that, Todd, is switch your inlet and outlet so that you're flowing through the tube backwards, and then reverse it again and see if that helps.
Okay.
I see Laura has her mic on. How are you doing? Wait, I think we had audio problems last time, didn't we? And I didn't check my text. So here, let's check. I'm going to check the chats and make sure nothing's going on. So Ron, how are you?
Good. Don't have any specific questions this week that I've thought of yet, but like I said last week, I enjoy hanging out with the crew and kind of seeing what questions are being asked and kind of learning before I'm ready to get one. So
Right. I see some awesome popped in there. Hey man. How about Sebastian or Lillian? Hey Sebastian, I see you kicked on there. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I am currently doing signage and we do embroidery and we do t-shirts. We wanted to get into the business of doing lasers. So I was looking at different lasers. I did hear about the 1 year laser in one of the chats I'm in for laser engraving. So I started looking and I saw that today you had this conference. So I said, I want to see what everybody says, their experiences. I had just a couple of questions. I don't know if I can ask them right now or if later on.
Absolutely. Fire away. We'll be glad to answer them.
So yeah, one of my well, not concerns, but my questions is I want to have the machine and I have a UV printer and I have a filter that actually, takes away all the fumes and all the smell. So I know that depending on the material that you'd be engraving, there's going to be, toxic fumes and everything. Is there like a filter that you guys sell so we don't have to like make a wall into the building to get the fumes outside or?
We do. There are fume extractors available. Typically, I don't recommend them unless it's a last resort, like if you're at an exhibition hall and you can't do any construction or venting or anything like that, or at a hotel or a convention center, something like that, a mall kiosk. They work. They're a little bit expensive and a little bit expensive to maintain, but we do have those options for these machines, I think. Of course, the best way, we're always going to recommend you exhaust all the way out to daylight, the way you normally can. But if you can't, you can't. So, there are options available for you.
Okay, and do you sell them like directly yourselves, or do you recommend like a different company to get the filters from?
We had filters. We had the extraction fans. I'm not sure if they're still on the site. I'll actually have to check on that. But I'll have to see if we got. You can always contact sales, Grant or Rebecca at sales, and they'll be glad to see if they can get those for you as well and give you some, price and availability on them.
Okay, and my second question was, how fast are you able to get the machine in, and do you provide any technical support, when you're opening the cradle, when you're connecting the cable, when you're installing the software? Do you provide that type of service? Is that extra? Is that included?
Yeah,
with the
we do
machine?
provide that level of service. Most of the time, we don't have to do a lot of hand holding. We've developed this so it's pretty easy to do, just going over the information that we have. But if you run into any trouble at all, of course, we're here and we'll be glad to help you any way we can.
Okay, and for let's say using the software, or asking questions like a newbie like myself, if I'm going to be engraving on a certain material, am I able to call you guys and what settings should I use for this type of material, or
Well,
um,
yeah, settings is kind of a rabbit hole. We've got some baseline figures in our materials library. And of course, we can help with that. And we'll be glad to discuss that with you. Ultimately, you'll have to do a lot of trial and error,
mhm.
to try to dial in your settings on some of these materials. We've also got a huge community. We've got the global Facebook users group, the Thunder Laser page, and there's a couple of other Thunder specific pages with a great community on there. And that's a perfect place to ask questions about speed and power and how to change your output and things like that, actually from other people who are doing the same things that you're doing. Our service is available. You get lifetime US-based support with these machines.
Okay, and now for the materials, I know I've heard like you can't do metal with CO2, only fiber machines do. Is there any type of metals that the Thunder can engrave on?
Well, yeah, coated metals, powdered coated, anodized aluminum, any coated or painted metals, what it actually does is just ablate the coating, so it reveals the metal underneath. And you can also use a special marking compound that you spray on bare metal, so that you can get a dark contrasting mark on there with a special compound. But the CO2 laser, at least ours, won't practically ablate metals at all. So it's always going to be an additive process.
Okay, and my last question was if we decided to order the Thunder, I forgot what model I was looking at. Let me see. I was looking at the Nova 35.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was looking at, you had I think it was the 100 watts or the 80 watts. How fast are you able to like get them here? Do you ship them from like China, or do you have them in stock here in the US and then ship them
We
directly, or?
we haven't had them technically in stock since last December. They've been on pre-order status ever since because the demand is so high. And we have ramped up production and started bringing more and more machines over every month. We constantly have machines going in, but it's just a matter of jumping on the waiting list. So that's going to probably be a sales question so that they can give you an accurate representation of the lead times on these machines.
Okay, so I have to like call Thunder directly and ask them more or less
Yeah,
the
you
lead
can
time.
email sales@thunderlaserusa.com, and they can help you that way as well. But yeah, you're welcome to give us a call or email sales, and they'll have that information. I can get it for you, but I'll have to go, get that information from them. So it's probably better if you just go direct, so I don't mess you up and get it wrong.
All right, thank you. Those
You're
were like
welcome.
some of my questions. Maybe somebody else has a couple questions too.
Hey, Sebastian.
Yes, hi.
My name's Todd. I've ordered my laser about 3.5 weeks ago, and it just arrived today, and it was the 3580 watt. So
Okay,
roughly 3 weeks to 4 weeks.
3 weeks.
Um,
Okay, that's good. Before Christmas.
yeah, it should be before Christmas, I would say.
Okay, that's
And
good information.
it was really easy. It was really easy to put together. The video that they have and they have that they send to you before it arrives is it's to the T. So spot on. So
Okay,
it's not that hard.
is there any like accessories that you would recommend getting, or maybe that you didn't get, or that you actually got?
The only thing that I got so far is the camera.
Hmm.
I'm looking to get the Roto Boss here probably next few months. But
Yeah, I'm looking at that one
but
too.
that's all that I've got so far.
Okay, and for the rotary to do like what do you call them, like those
Tumblers.
cuts where is there like differences between the ones that you sell, or between the ones that competitors sell, or?
Well, these rotors are made by that guy sitting there in the Rotoboss shirt. JER Customs, and it is arguably the best rotary on the planet. That's why we got them. All three models are all made by him, and they've all been thoroughly tested, and they're spectacular pieces of equipment, works of art.
Okay, good to know.
Is my volume a little low? Robert said it was. Is it still low? Do I need to step up closer? Trying to adjust it.
I can see a mustache. You can move back a little bit.
Okay, and I think Lillian had some questions in the chat, and I think Robert got her taken care of. Thank you, Robert. Gary, what do you got going on over there, man? He might have stepped away.
Oh, I just bought a fiber laser today.
Did you really?
I got a 60 watt.
You told me that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into fiber one of these days. It's down the road a little ways, but I have a feeling that we're gonna offer one at some point pretty soon. That would be cool.
I'll have one of them.
It's not official. That's just me speculating. So
yeah.
Hey John, how's it going, man?
Real good, Brian. How's everybody else doing? I'm doing okay.
Doing well, doing well. So how you coming out on your project?
Work through everything I need to do. Everything, I'm learning a little at a time, taking baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have one issue that I seem to have straightened out. Is the laser wouldn't go to home. It did when I first set it up. It went to the upper left. It was fine for a few days, and then it started to go to the upper left, and then would move over 3 inches. And then a couple days later, it would move over 6 inches. So finally, it wouldn't home at all. And so I just erased the setup and went in and had it find the laser again, and it's like I reinstalled the laser, and now it's fine.
Huh.
So I don't know. Maybe I pushed the button when I was trying to decipher the Chinese on the controller. I probably
That's
pressed
right.
the button.
Your controller came in defaulted to Chinese language.
Chinese.
I remember that.
Right. So I might have pressed the wrong characters and probably told it to do something. But it's working fine. I've been watching everybody's videos. Chris does one heck of a job with photos, and the guy's just amazing. So I've just been watching and learning and doing some stuff and running a bunch of wood and acrylic, but the machine is easy to put together. I didn't need any windows or anything. It was really kind of plug and play.
Right.
If anybody's worried about setup, that's what they should worry about. The hardest thing is getting it off the truck and getting it in the house. So that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Everything else is plug and play, especially now with the chiller plugged into the back of the machine. And you got to have one plug that goes into the wall. Everything else plugs into the back of the laser.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to set up.
Okay. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So
I'm having fun.
Do we have any? Hey, Mark, how are you, man?
Hey, Ryan, just thought I'd check in and see how all my Thunder Laser friends are doing.
Looks like we're making it pretty good.
Good.
So, anything remarkable going on with you, Mark?
Just trying to cut my lawn. It's been raining here like crazy, and I had to mow it twice this week.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. That's not my favorite thing to do. I enjoy it once I get started, but thinking about it, makes me hesitate a little bit. So, does anybody else have any questions? I see Adam popped in here. So we'll just kind of have an open forum. If anybody's got anything, they're welcome to jump in anytime.
Yeah, quick question. Do you have any place I can actually take a look at? I was hoping for the SAA convention here in Florida, but it got canceled because of the whole thing going on.
Right.
So is there any other place that I could go that's not too far, like in Florida?
Well, from an official standpoint, we're not really doing our demos. However, we try to do them virtually. But that's not to say there may be someone looking right now that might be in Florida that you may be able to go kick the tires on one. But I'll have to let you talk with Jason about that.
Okay.
He's in, well, you're in Jacksonville, right, Jason?
Yeah, I'm up in Jacks by the airport.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm down in South Florida. But yeah, okay. That would be an option, I guess.
Chris is a little bit closer to South Florida than I am.
Yeah,
But,
he is. He is. I'll tell you what, Sebastian, why don't you ask sales about it? And they may want you to try to do a virtual demo first, just because of everything going on. But there may be a chance that we could get you in front of one. But so that they'd be the ones to facilitate that, because we do have a guy that's probably a little closer to you than Jason.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
Awesome. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
So tell me, you don't have to give any names or anything, but you went and made a visit today. Was that official or just out of goodwill or what?
Oh, that was official request.
Was it?
Yeah. So I did
Okay.
the official request visit. Took care of the customer.
Okay, well, that's 2 in a week, isn't it?
Oh, you're talking about the other one? No, that one, I don't think I'm going to be doing that one unless Grant tells me otherwise.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I thought
Also,
you were talking about the one from last week.
One of our partners too, for you that don't know, we've got a group of demo partners and other collaborators and vendors that are part of our team, so that we can help provide better service. And Awesome goes out every once in a while and puts a fire out for us. So we appreciate that. So that's just another level that we're trying to step up on, as far as our service and support to make sure it's good. So, or at least as good as it can be.
Yep. I'm in the conservative state of Texas, but I wear my hat backwards.
I probably should, because I don't have one of those little ring cameras or ring lights to light my pretty face up. Probably best darker for me.
No disrespect to Californians over here.
Let's see. Adam, how you doing, guy? Can you?
Hey, yeah, doing well. We're trying to fight through wildfire smoke out here.
Oh, hang on just a second, Adam. I apologize. Hey, if you guys aren't talking, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, we've got some noise. Oops, I cut myself off. Thanks. Sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
I was just saying we're just trying to get through wildfire season out here and deal with the pandemic at the same time. It's been pretty interesting. Laser wise, it's doing well. I'm doing tumblers. One issue I posted in the Facebook group is I noticed my tumbler would the engraving would, like, as it would rotate, it would kind of shift, and the image would then get thrown off and not aligned. And I think the feedback in the Facebook group was about the speed on the rotary. Maybe I had that set too fast. I just used the default setting in Lightburn for anodized aluminum, which I think was like a speed of 500, and I can't remember the power, but I slowed the speed down on the rotary to about 200 just to make sure that it wouldn't shift and adjust, and it seemed to work pretty good so far. So if anyone is doing tumblers and they see that issue, maybe adjust the speed on that.
So typically the speed, if you're rastering, in the X direction, that X swing can be pretty fast. We've got people that go above that. Have you set your reverse compensation settings or the scanning offset adjustment in Lightburn?
Yeah, I think I have. One of the things so I have it installed on Lightburn installed on 2 different computers, and so maybe if I designed it in one computer and then take the file to the other computer, that setting might be off on the different computers. So I just need to verify that that's that the settings are the same for that.
Right. Yeah, I would enter. Yeah, I believe you have to enter those compensation settings independently if you're running more than one computer with Lightburn on it. So I would make sure that those are, because that can help increase, the crispness of that raster. a lot. So that could
Yeah.
also be part of it. Yeah.
And
So,
it happened really because this was some other feedback that someone gave me is I had a pretty intricate design that I just took from one of my Instagram followers. So one of the marketing things I was thinking about is just giving out samples to followers and people who whatever, just to get the word out. And so I took their logo, and it was pretty intricate, such to that if I was gonna fill it all, there was like 60 different parts of the image or nodes of the image that I would have had to close up. And so I tried to do a fill just to ease of simplicity to see if the logo would look all right. And that was the other feedback was, try to fill images on on tumblers, I think, the best you can, because the line engraving doesn't always come through the best.
yeah, it has a tendency to go a little fast and jerk all over the place just because of all the direction changes. Whereas on a raster engrave, you've just got the x-axis just moving back and forth, nice and steady, and then the Y will just turn slowly. U-axis actually is the one it uses. But yeah, when you go vector on a cup, it's moving back and forth in the y-axis a lot and things like that. So it's generally better to raster on the cups. So.
All right. Yeah. So that was the feedback that was mentioned too. So I appreciated that.
Sure. Looks like Jason has a demonstration going here.
Yeah, Laura had a question. I think he's trying to help.
Yeah, Laura had a question, so I was just going to show it real quick because I have to leave here. I have to leave here in about 10 minutes. So.
Okay.
But this one here, we got two different ones. I'll show you. Here's the original. The original one that Thunder has currently. This is the junior, if you will. It's like any other rotary. It's got a set of drive wheels on one end, a set of slave wheels or support wheels or whatever you want to call them on the other. The unique thing about this is it has the lead screw adjustable height, which allows you to do pretty precise and accurate adjustments, minute adjustments, and also once you stop turning it, it won't fall. I mean, you can literally stand on it and it's not going to go anywhere. So this just lifts the one end or the other, depending on how you have it positioned in here. Also, we have a clamping system here that allows for clamping the inside of cups, mugs, tumblers, wine glasses, stemless wine glasses, etc. Then you got the heel plate, which helps keep it from walking back and forth, which can't always get rid of, but it's easier to mitigate with having these two features here on either end. It also has an adjustable screw on the back to adjust your slave wheels in or out to allow for adjustment for different size cups or objects. You can also do things not on the junior, but on the new one I'm going to show you here in a second. You can actually do rolling pins, things like that would extend beyond the frame of the rotary. But this one here is mainly designed specifically for cups and tumblers and mugs and things of that nature. There's also a mug spacer that goes on here that allows an offset, so when you're doing handled objects, they don't hit the wheels as they're rotating. It still gives you the functions of both the clamp and the heel plate without having that obstruction.
Can you quick explain how that clamp works? Like, if it's clamped, how does it rotate?
It's on a wheel with a bearing. It's got a sealed bearing that runs on a bolt shaft and a spacer. This is my rendition of the wheel, if you will. There's other people that have different clamps for other types of rotaries and things like that. This just happens to be one that I've used for about 2 years now with other products that I make or had made for other rotaries before I designed these. But it clamps down, it puts pressure on the drive wheels on the inside of the object to basically give you a direct pressure
On
to
the
prevent
inside of it.
slipping and rotating and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you've ever used a rotary before, but if you use a rotary with a mug with a handle, for instance, once that handle reaches a certain point, it drops.
Yeah.
Because there's no friction or anything to keep it from moving. That's not to say that this will completely eliminate any movement. There's things in your settings that you can do, make adjustments in your settings to prevent or help prevent it, like slowing down your acceleration and jerk settings and things like that on your U axis. So there's ways to prevent it from happening, but from the factory, it can happen. And also, slowing down those settings like you're talking about with raster and vector engraving on a rotary. If you slow down those settings, it increases your chances of success in doing vector engraving on the rotary. Because I've done many things where I've rastered an image, and then I go behind it and I vector around it just to give it a kind of a defined line or an outer border kind of look. So it is possible. You have to kind of fine tune it, dial it in. But yeah, so that's this. I don't know if Laura's watching or listening. If anybody else has any questions about this one, I'd be glad to answer them, and then I'll move on to the new one that's not out for Thunder yet, but it's coming.
How easy is it to plug it in? Is it just something simple, or is it like you have to disconnect something on the back wires, or is it
Nope.
just plug in and
It's a direct plug and play. Depending on the age of your machine, you might have a 5 or 7 pin. If it's anything, I think 2019 and newer, it's probably a 7 pin. Anything before that, I don't know. It might be hit or miss, but you may have a 5 pin or a 7 pin. But either way, if you order one, because you're only going to be able to get these through Thunder come October 1st. For this one, anyways, this one here is already through them directly. But it comes plug and play for your particular machine. So when you place the order, they'll let me know what plug you need, and it'll come to you ready to go. You just plug it in and send your image, and you're off.
Hey, Sebastian.
Yes.
On all the new machines, they are the 7-pin XLR, and they are auto sensing, like Jason says. So when you plug it in, they just go. It knows it. You don't have to switch out your Y-axis or flip a switch or take a driver connector loose or any of that stuff. It automatically knows when you plug it in. Also, it uses the U channel instead of the Y channel, and I think we're the only ones that do that. And that way you don't have to take your Y channel out of play at all. It also makes Lightburn do a little bit of stuff, like the test button right now won't support U channel test when you're testing the rotary. You have to send it to the machine and do it from the panel. And the other thing is actually the rotary on and off button to enable the rotary. That makes absolutely no difference whatsoever on a Thunder, whether it's on or off. That only affects the Y channel. So, there are some caveats there because we run custom firmware in our machines so that we can have a little more finite control over some of that stuff and add some extra features.
Okay.
Will that change in the future?
Hmm?
Will that change in Lightburn in the future? Are you guys working with Lightburn to support the U channel
So
control?
we probably won't have our own specific version of Lightburn because that just adds complexity, to everybody's lives. Even though there are a few running around, I think, for some of the G-code lasers, I think, or some of the diode lasers, I think he's got a special version for. But you can auto sense when a Thunder is connected within Lightburn. It'll know if it's a Thunder or not because of our
That's what I was
firmware.
going to ask. Yeah.
And he's entertaining the thought, if he ever gets time, of down the road somewhere when it detects a Thunder, it'll remove the buttons that don't need to be there and correct a few of those little things. It's not real high on the list because it's actually not really a problem. It's not really a bug or an issue. It's just that's how Thunder and Lightburn play well together, or how they play together. So there's a few workarounds, but
Gotcha.
that's been talked about, but it's not real high on the priority list right now because there's a lot of other innovation that can go on.
Cool.
Okay. Any other question about the Junior? I'll go ahead and talk about this one, then I got to get going. Hold on a second. All right, so this is the I guess the flagship of my rotaries. This is the first one that came out, and everything else kind of stemmed off of it. The features of this rotary, basically from here this way, are the same as the Junior. The exception, what makes this most unique, is it adjusts on the motor side as well. So I don't know if who all's familiar with doing a lot of rotary work, but before, if you wanted to lift, let's say, a wine glass, right, or a growler, and you have to turn the growler around, and with the Junior, you have to do that, unfortunately, unless you prop up the one side with a 2x4 or something just to offset the difference. But with this one, you don't have to do any of that. You still maintain your clamping ability, which the clamp's not on here at the moment. But so you maintain your clamping ability, and you can adjust both sides independently depending on what you're doing. So for a growler, you drop the slave wheels down, and your drive wheels would be raised up or down to level your item. This one here, you can actually do like your baseball bats and drumsticks and things like that, bigger items, just because of the way everything sits on the motor side is a little bit higher, so it gives you more clearance. Just by taking off the clamp and the heel plate, you can do all that. Again, both sides are adjustable with the turn of a knob on lead screws, and the same in the back here. But yeah, aside from the functions of the motor side, everything else mechanically is pretty much the same function. It's just the added feature of the additional lift side.
Hey, Jason, you got videos of this stuff by any chance?
Yeah, there's well, I don't have any new ones. I'm working on that. I've been busy with getting these out the door and trying to keep up with these right now. I am going to be doing some videos on all the versions, but if you go to at the top of my screen there, you'll see, if you go to JER Custom Designs at YouTube, my YouTube channel has a bunch of the original prototype kind of videos, if you will, kind of going over the details, how they work, and actually showing them in work. Like I have the original prototype of this machine here doing a 2.8 pound glass beer mug to kind of demonstrate, the gripping and the holding ability, so the handle thing, don't flop down when it reaches a certain point and all that. So there's a bunch of videos on there. Also on my website, the rotaryattachments.com website, the homepage, and there's also a page or a tab dedicated to videos. You can find videos of customers and myself that have posted them on there, and you can kind of see how the function of it is. And again, they're old videos and they were sporadic because I'm one of those people, when I come up with something new, I just want to put it out there. So the videos are kind of, there's not like a defined outline for the video. It's just kind of off the cuff and stuff. So some of the information might be kind of scattered around a little bit, but.
And Jason, do you ship these in pieces or like a whole unit like that?
No, they come completely assembled, ready to plug in and play, provided UPS, takes care of them on their journey. Which since switching to the all metal plates, which these now have, I haven't really had an issue with that. So, which was another bonus and reason for switching to all metal, because they are complete. They are so complex, it'd be really hard to send these in pieces and expect customers to put them together, especially those that never owned a laser, let alone a rotary. So that's kind of, I guess, the benefit of these, as well as you get them completely ready to go. Take them out of the box, you plug them in, adjust your settings, and you're off the races.
Kind of
So
like the lasers. Pull them out of the box, put a few things together, and go for it.
that's a fact, and not a plug or anything, because I don't get anything out of Thunder, but I have 3 different lasers, 3 different companies. Thunder obviously being one of them, and I was really shocked that the laser you see behind me here. Um, I took it straight out of the box. I plugged it in, hooked everything up, and literally within probably 2 or 3 hours, and that's including building the frame and everything, had it up and running, and I haven't had an issue with it since. And I can't really say that for the other lasers, but that was impressive for me, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I reached out to them originally. With my rotaries, obviously, but in general, just to get me one as well for in the shop that I'm in now. So
Now, real quick on those rotaries, while we were talking about it, the full Roto Boss and the Roto Junior are for the Nova 35, Nova 51, and Nova 63. And the low roller is for the Nova 24 and the Odin 22, as far as I know, because they have a little bit shallower Z-axis depth than the Nova 35 and up machines do.
all right, one more thing. I don't have any blue ones because I just actually packed up a handful of them and they're going out today, or they just went out. But I think Brian, I think you mentioned this. I was away, but this is a low roller. I know it's really kind of hard to see all the detail and stuff in it because it's all one color. This is basically a shrunken Rotoboss Junior, and it's specifically designed for the Nova 24, which I have, as well as other smaller cabinet lasers. It's just a really low profile rotary with about wheels that are about half the size of the original, and it just allows for doing bigger objects on a smaller laser that would normally you would have done with if you're familiar with the hot dog rollers, where they're basically 2 shafts with some rubber O-rings on a wheel, and you couldn't really do a whole lot with them. Whereas these, they're designed to function the same way, but without the restrictions of the bars that connect the wheels, as well as the adjustable tower. So,
And Jason, you had mentioned earlier rolling pins. Would it be possible to do a rolling pin with that low roller?
yes. Well, um, with this here on my site, you can get the bigger wheels for it. You can actually put the junior wheels on here in place of these for doing things like that.
Oh, to get them up a little higher so that you can engage the center of the pin, the handle. Yeah.
Well, the main thing is these wheels, they're so low profile, and again, it's hard to see with all the same color, but with them so low profile, they sit. Oh, where am I at here? They sit so close to this plate. They actually sit below the plate, so you don't have the clearance through the plate. So you put the bigger wheels on, and that allows you to, one, do smaller objects, because if you look, you see the gap between the wheels there, whereas on the Junior, you don't have that big a gap. So you can do a lot smaller things with the bigger wheels on it, and that's something extra with this. And currently, Thunder doesn't offer that. We may talk about that in the future. But that is some way to make this a little bit more versatile. Plus, if you have a really odd shaped object on here, you can throw a set of big wheels on one side or the other to give you that offset that you need, without having to try to jury rig this up or down or sideways to get it to function the way you need it to. So that is an option.
Yeah, I just looking at that, I'm thinking, boy, that might be something for a 3D print where you could actually slip it over and have a friction fit, and then on the larger diameter, put those O-rings on, and it would, instead of replacing the entire wheels and everything, just to slip on over the existing wheels.
I've looked at that, but the problem with that is it's doable, but it's not satisfactory to me, as far as, because getting them on there just right, making sure they're centered and squared and all that, everything's ideal. Because if they're not put on there right, they could cause the cups to walk, the wheel would wobble and things like that. Whereas literally you take out, there's a grub screw. Well, this is a newer version, but or a newer upgrade, but there's a collar here and a collar on this side. You just take a grub screw out, you pop the wheel out, you put it on, and then on the other side you loosen your tensioner block, take the belt off, pop the pulleys off, and then slide the wheels in and out. I mean, it's for me, it's a couple minutes to do it, but realistically, you're probably looking about 5 minutes or so just to swap them out. But depending on how much, I use the bigger wheels more than I use the small wheels myself. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
just me.
So, yeah, that would be an option. Leave the big wheels on there unless you need to go smaller. There'd be less changing out that way, maybe.
But the original, like I said, the original idea is to keep it small so you could do bigger objects like 30-ounce tumblers, 60-ounce tumblers, things like that, and not have an issue. Anybody, I gotta get going. I'm actually a little bit late, but anybody got any quick questions before I go? And I'll leave you guys to it.
Just a confirmation. You said the junior. Sorry, go ahead, Gary.
I had to get up here for a few minutes. I had a call from my wife, but can we, with the Rotoboss Junior, can we do baseball bats?
With the junior, yes, you should be able to do the baseball bats with the junior.
I set a mini bat in there.
Yeah, I mean, I've done full size 36-inch, 38-inch bats or whatever they are. I've done the full length ones. You just extend the wheels all the way to the side. And if you need to, you can take a big rubber band and go around the wheels, top to bottom, or around the wheels with the bat on top of it to help hold it down if you need to. But I haven't really seen an issue to do that.
Cool. Get out of here, man.
All right, I got it going, guys. You guys take care.
All right. Also about the rotaries, and I'm almost done with it. I got to add some pictures and do a couple more things. I'm developing a full set of documentation, and it'll be a unified rotary manual. It'll have the Rotoboss, the Roto Junior, and the low roller all in there together in one thing. And as soon as I get that published on the knowledge base, I'll put a link out on all the sites so you guys can have access to that as well.
Hey, Brian, quick question. Did you say the junior was for the 2460 or the 2440? Or the mini?
Technically, the Mini 60 won't accept a rotary because it doesn't have a movable Z table, so it has no rotary option at all. So
but can you use his low roller for that mini or not at all?
If you cut the bottom out, the maximum depth in the Mini 60, I think, is it's less than an inch.
Oh, okay. Then it's not going to work.
It's
and
like
you're saying Odin's the same way?
I'm sorry?
And the Odin's the same way?
No, the Odin has a Z-axis. It's motorized. It's got an aluminum table with a honeycomb on top of it. And it's 7.1 inches around Z-axis height, whereas the Nova 24 is 6.1. And then the Nova 35 and up, they're 9.1 as far as the Z-axis height. Yeah.
So no rotary whatsoever for the mini, but we can start off with either the low roller or the junior with the 24 or the Odin.
I don't think the junior would fit. It may fit, but you may not be able to put a 30-ounce mug in there just because it sits up so high. So that matter of fact, I think that's why he made that junior specifically for that Nova 24, you know, to get that get that low profile in there. So there's enough room to actually do a full-size mug. So we could measure the shock towers on it, but we've only been recommending the low roller for the Nova 24s.
Gotcha.
So if I end up swinging a Odin 22, can I use my junior for that, or do I need to get a low roller?
You might be able to use the junior. It might not take a 40-ounce cup or something like that, or a growler, but you should be able to use it. Maybe not for really big stuff, you know, because like I said, you've got an extra 2 inches in your machine of Z-axis height right now. So just imagine your nozzle being 2 inches closer to the, you know, or your rotary being 2 inches closer to the gantry. So, that'll kind of affect it a little bit.
But I don't think we're bottomed out on the Z anyhow with the Junior.
Typically you're not, but on that Odin, it's only 7.1 millimeters.
Okay.
Or 7.1 inches, rather.
I
Yeah,
knew what you
7.1
meant.
millimeters would be a little bit shy. You could probably do rubber in that thing, and that's about it. So, has Thunder Laser ever offered upgrade packages for older machines? Yes, Laura,
Is
they
that from
have.
Awesome?
What's
Is
that?
that from Awesome?
No, Laura's thinking like me. I was laughing at that one.
Yeah. So some of it, yeah, like the dual air assist, you can get the retrofit kit, which basically means China will put together all the parts you need to do it and send it to you in a box, and then you're pretty much on your own. We do have some basic documentation and that for it, but there's a little bit of heavy lifting there, a bunch of drilling and mounting relays and running wires and airlines and things like that. But we do offer some upgrades for this innovation, for the older machines, depending on what it is. That we kind of handle that on a case-by-case basis, really.
Question, for doing like small items like pins and mini mags,
Yeah.
is that best kind of in the rotary attachment or just making a jig that kind of the pin fits in there and doesn't rotate? Or
If you're just going to do letters and stuff on one side, I don't think you even need the rotary. I think you could make a jig and line a few of them up and just do them. And you can get enough variance in your focus, I think, in that small of an area. I think it would be okay. If you did want to use those in a rotary, something that small like pins and dowels and, like you say, the mini mag lights, you may look at a chuck rotary for that. That may be one instance where the chuck rotary would be superior. Because especially with those mag lights, you could lock in the tail of it and it's not going anywhere.
yeah, is there a chuck rotary available for the 24 and the Thunder, and where? If so, where would they be at on the website? Because I didn't see them.
We have a few of them left in the box. We don't really advertise them just because 99% of the time people really need the roller, whether they know really what the difference is or not.
Yeah.
But for those who know they need a chuck, they can ask us and we can produce one.
All right.
Hey,
Laura,
Adam, I do pens too, man. I just put the pen down and engrave it. It's much easier. Unless you're doing like the magnet lights and you want to go all the way around, roller's your answer. But otherwise, nah, it works just great, at least for the pen size.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. Thank you for that.
Laura asked if there was anyone powder coating drinkware. Lataza Cups does. Chris does. I don't know of anybody else that's actually powder coating like in-house, if that's what you're asking. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I got a question for Ron. Did you buy a freaking laser yet, dude?
Oh yeah, you know what? He's trolling. We're gonna have to kick him out of here.
Trolling? How am I trolling?
I'm just
if I showed you the state of my garage, I think you'd understand. Like I'm still very much finishing that up, and it's been a problem I've identified with my personality where I get really excited about something and then I just like buy everything all at once before I'm like ready for it. And so for finishing my garage, I bought all the electrical wire, all the circuit breakers, all the insulation, and all the plywood, and order that all at once. And so while I've been doing the electrical work, the insulation and plywood has been in my freaking way, and it's just been a nightmare to work around that stuff. So I really want to get all that done before I have a Nova 35 like taking up the amount of space that a Nova 35
Yeah,
takes up.
you're not reading the post from the rest
You're
of
not gonna
the.
want to move it anymore after that.
What's that?
I said once you put that laser in place, you're not ever gonna want to move it again. So you better have all your stuff done.
Well, yes, but also I realize I'm lucky in that my space will be an insulated garage. I can go in right through the garage door. I don't need to try to get it through a standard doorway or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what size truck they come on, but the truck can just pull up right in my alley and drop it off my driveway. So
No, it barely fits in the lift gate, man. Haven't you seen all the pictures yet?
no.
You can do what I did, Ron. I have room for a 35 and bought a 51.
You might have been the person who said to get a 51 last time, and I'm like, I'd love
Yeah,
to.
probably.
I also want to have a CNC in there and a few other toys.
I
So
have that too.
yeah, yeah. I only have a 2-car garage to work with, so I need to.
I have 12 by 28. I have all my woodworking tools, a 4x8 CNC tape router, and a Nova 51
Good
and a
grief.
desk. It's
I
tight.
for kicks and giggles, I placed the dimensions of a Nova 51 on my like floor plan of the garage, and I'm like, nah, it takes up a little too much room.
What
Like,
Gary's not telling you also is he's like 8 feet tall, so he takes up quite a bit of space too.
I'm 6'7", 325. I take up my fair share.
nice.
So,
No,
So
I'm
you didn't
I'm
have
just
to
a
hire
Nova
help.
35. I feel like that's a nice medium between like 24. Is it 24 and like a big boy like 51 or whatever. The machine I've used at the makerspace for the past 4 years is a 36-inch machine, so that's kind of what I'm used to anyway. So yeah,
35 is a great machine.
yeah, I'm excited to finish the garage so that I can actually look at finally getting one. So you guys can stop teasing me.
we're just picking at you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fun. So, well, cool. It's close to 4. Has anybody got anything else before we go? Any other last minute things they want to shout out?
I remember a while back you were talking about running Lightburn on a couple of computers. I have a little tidbit for you. If you're networked and you're using the library settings, if you, let's say you save your library to a certain location and then you go to another location and you load that library, from that point on, that library becomes the default library for the other machine. So if you continually do that, you're always up to date because you're only using one database that's shared amongst all of the machines. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think
Yeah,
you
now
can do
it's
that
like
with machine settings. I think you can dictate which folder your preferences are in. Also, I don't know if it'll let you roam or not, but I think that's an option too. Because I use Dropbox, and like even my Ditto, my clipboard manager is the same way. I've got one file, on Dropbox, and everything, pulls from it globally, and that's an awesome thing. So you don't have to worry about that. It's an
for
awesome
us
thing.
techies. Yeah, I use NAS. So from the beta, so I've been from the beginning with the Lightburn when I first saw it. That's what I've been doing. I have a NAS, which is basically a network storage facility. I just 2 computers back and forth. That's what I did. And it was like, man, this is such a cool feature. Actually, Jason was looking for some testers, and I told him I had oh, he's back. So I had a third, like the Nova, and he said, yeah, he actually is thinking of getting one to test it. He's already got somebody testing it too. But yeah, after that, I was pushing Amy, like, you've got to look at this software. This is the thing. And she's like, I never heard of it, but they looked into it, and now what they're doing, they actually provide that software to you.
Yeah, it's the greatest.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea, Mark. So if you haven't thought about it, do what Mark says. It works.
Saves a lot of headaches.
Hey, speaking of Lightburn, I think I asked this last time when the rep was there, but I'm still seeing people have bugs and issues with the newest version of Lightburn. Am I reading too much into it? Because I haven't upgraded to the 0.16, I think, version is the newest one. And so I don't know if I'm just reading the years wrong or.
Yeah, what you need to think about that is you need to only look at that in reference to the Ruida DSP controllers. You got to remember Lightburn works on diode lasers, G-code machines, K40s if you have the right card in them, a lot of different machines besides just Ruida controllers. So a lot of those weird things that you see are specific to one machine. So, or one type of machine like the little 5-watt diode laser. And there's a lot of weird stuff in the G-code version. And you might see a lot of buzz about that, but there really aren't any that I can think of that are serious as far as Thunder and the Ruida controller goes on the DSP side. So you got to take all those complaints or questions that you see in the Lightburn forums and all those places with a grain of salt, because it covers a very wide variety. It's casting a wide net over all these machines, and the one that you're using is specific to one controller.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much then for clarifying that.
Sure.
A lot of it's user error.
No, that never happens.
That's going to be my story. I'm sticking to it. It's never my fault either, for sure.
So Adam, I support an industrial software package. You're talking a couple of thousands of dollars of those things, and customers always call me like, should I upgrade? My first question is, do you have a problem? No, then don't worry about it. Unless there's something you see in there that, oh, I've got to have this cool feature, go for it. But always remember, it may not work for you, so be ready to go back to the original version.
Yeah, I just get tired of having the quick no, because the pop-up box every time I start up Lightburn says, do you want to upgrade? And I'm like, no, stop asking me.
I thought there's a setting to turn that off.
There may be. The other thing is if you've got your license, you probably want to keep it updated, though. I mean, I get what Awesome's saying, but the other thing about that is if there ever was a serious problem, it would be realized very quickly, and they would roll out a patch. They usually do that in an hour or so if they do notice something. And I get about being conservative about just blowing firmware on stuff all the time, or if you're updating things, no matter what it is, software, firmware, that other. But I don't know that it would bother me so much that I would be afraid, because like Awesome said, you can always go backwards, if you need to.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd overthink it. I guess that's what I mean, as far as that goes. There's too many people that are using the current version that aren't saying anything. And look at it this way. If you see Lightburn problems on the global Thunder users page, then that may be something to pay attention to. But if you don't see any buzz on the Thunder groups about any weird stuff going on, then there probably isn't any. So.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Sure. Well, cool, guys. I guess I'm going to jump off here.
Oh, one last question. Quick question. Do you know if there's going to be any specials or bundle deals that are coming up soon?
Oh no, we don't do specials.
Oh, you don't do specials.
No.
Black
Honestly,
Friday, man. You got to do Black Friday.
we honestly never really have. I mean,
no, I'll say something on that, Brian, real quick. So there's another company that's been pushing me to buy theirs, and they're offering this really special deal, and I swear it's a really special deal. It really is. It's actually $300 less than Thunder, but by the time you add shipping and you add the tax, it's over Thunder. So why would I go for this special deal? If it's a special deal, give me the freaking thing off for a couple of $1,000. So yeah, I'll tell you with Thunder, the price I paid with my 4 and some years old machine is the same price you're paying, but you've got all the newest technology, and I don't.
That's true. We haven't changed our prices in a while, and I think we were supposed to in July before the pandemic hit and all that. We decided to table that. So I think we're actually eating that. I think they were supposed to jump up a couple $100, but we decided not to.
Okay, well, yeah, I was just asking. I'd rather knowing that the company stays the same with the pricing and not knowing that you buy it and then you see a Black Friday special and you're like, oh, I should have waited just a month.
Yeah, no, you won't see that. We try to be transparent and try to keep everything pretty level across the board.
Okay.
Look, no.
The way Thunder are selling, there's no reason to give a discount.
What's that?
The way Thunders are selling, why would Thunder give a discount? It's not like they're having a hard time moving lasers.
We're having a hard time keeping up.
To Brent the other day, and he said they sold 55 last month or something like that. It was.
I don't know. It's been pretty crazy. It's been a wild ride. So.
I really
I,
get a kick out of it. I really
though.
get a kick out of looking at the Global Thunder laser board and all these people talking about, boy, I'm really anxious to get my machine. How many weeks is it going to be? How many days? How many hours? You know,
Yeah.
it's fun because I went through it and I know what they're feeling.
Oh yeah. That pacing back and forth, that'll get you. So for
I
sure.
mean, I
All
do
right.
like the 3% discount on the if you pay like with a check, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe they still do that. You
Yeah.
will get, yeah, I forgot to mention that. I haven't been on that end of it in quite a while. There is a 3% discount for a cash transaction, cash or check, because they don't have to assess all of those transactional fees and things like that from the credit processors.
And then, do you know if the taxes are you able to have tax exempt on the machine, or is that only for
Taxes
consumables?
are
Or
not included on the machine. So the price you see on the website, that's the price you're going to pay.
oh, that's the price. Okay.
That's free residential liftgate shipping. That's the chiller. That's everything with the machine. That's to your door.
Oh, and taxes include everything. Wow, yeah, that's a pretty good deal compared to other brands. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think so. Just to verify, I didn't realize that that price on the website includes tax. I knew it
That-
included all the chiller and all that stuff too, but
That's
oh, cool.
shipping and all. That's to your door. And Lillian asked if we have referral credits. We do not have an affiliate program or anything like that. Quite honestly, we get these machines at such high quality, we don't have a lot of margin on them. Not like some of these other guys do. And so we don't have a lot of wiggle room, to be real honest. Especially for the strides we're making, in the service department and adding on new people and that kind of stuff. It's taxing, especially because we don't have a lot of margin to play with. So we don't have an affiliate program at the moment. I would love to see some sort of program like that for our vendors and our partners and the community and the guys. I would love to see something like that. And I hope one day soon we can do that. Even if it's Thunderbucks that can go towards stuff in our e-store or something, stuff like that. But that is something that we're looking at. It's on the horizon. There's not a lot of topic about it right now, but it's definitely on my radar. I would love to see something like that happen. So.
That'd be cool.
So, all right, guys. Well, I think I'll conclude this one. I'm going to unrecord.